So
I'm not
that's where
really
you have
sure
to, that's
that
why
big
you got to
either.
map it out, because what you have is you have essentially two different actions in two different parts of the pipeline, pulling them to different stages. And the
Hmm.
reason you have that is because you didn't map it out. And because you didn't map it out, you don't know where it is. So now you've got to do a basic like coding. If you talk to any programmer, this is like their biggest nightmare. It's like when you have a bug, you now have to comb through every single automation to find where the problem is. So the
Yeah.
problem itself is going to be like a 30-second fix. That's
And
not
the
the
thing is,
issue.
it
The
doesn't
issue is
really
you have no
make
idea where
sense
it is.
though. Like it doesn't really make any sense because I've already, so, and maybe I'm looking at it, maybe I don't know how to comb through it. So when I pull up the person, whoever it was, right? I pull them up and I can see where she filled out the form and I can see
We can
what
take a look
workflow
if
it
you
wrote.
want. Yeah, we can take a look if you want, but here's what I'm going to tell you right now. Number one, if you don't have a map, it's going to take you hours to find it. Number two, if your automations are not numbered in chronological order, it's going to take you hours,
It is.
even more hours to find.
It is. I am doing it that way to some to the numbered.
Yeah. And then the number three thing is if you don't remove everything else that you're not using, it's going to take you not hours, but it'll take you at least another hour, maybe two to find things. So when I build anything, it's map, build, number, name everything accordingly so I can navigate quickly. And then anything I'm not using, they're not going to be in the assigned folders, whether it's custom values or fields. I'm deleting everything I'm not using. All the pipelines I'm not using, all the automations I'm not using, all the websites I'm not using. If I want to keep them, I move them over to a sandbox. I just created a GHL account called Sandbox. I just move them over there. Think of it as like overflow or backflow, or um, you can even think of it as like just warehouse. But we can take a
Okay.
look.
I mean, I'll
Jesse,
show it to you and you can look at it. If it takes too long, like I can do it another time.
yeah.
I'm still obviously trying to figure out what is, because two of my newest hires are going back through the pipeline as soon
Yeah.
as they fill
So,
out the forms.
so first, let's look at the pipeline itself, because if it pops up as different fields, then you have it set up as an opportunity, and your pipeline is and your survey is wrong.
Okay.
So we're going to start
Um,
there. If the survey is right, then we're going to do the automations, and we're going to see where it's pulling you.
okay, so you want to look at the pipeline?
So yes, look at pipeline first. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a different, like an awkwardly created
Um,
opportunity, because that's going to show. Okay, so let's see.
this is, no, this is the wrong one.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
oh,
now go to
okay,
hiring.
one. Sorry. Do you want to run it? Do you want me to give you?
No, 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 you're good.
Okay.
So
All
find me
right. So
the
the first
duplicate.
person is um
What I want to see is I want to see if she's in there twice or he's in there twice.
I think her name is Cherie right
All right,
here.
so we have her here, but I want you
Yeah.
to scroll this way and see if she's over here to the right as well.
Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Because you see this right here, you see there's only two fields. This makes me think right away that you have it set up in your survey the wrong way. Okay, where should she be in this pipeline?
Um, she should be um right here.
Okay, so now we're seeing that she's not moved. She hasn't moved to the right stage, which means she's moved back.
She was over there.
Right,
So
but
she
now she's moved
changed.
back. So now one of two things has happened. Either the survey submitted the wrong information and it moved her because you have no duplicate opportunities turned on, or you it actually moved it, in which case it's an automation. So the easier check is going to be to check duplicate opportunities. So let's go to your settings, go to your business profile, and let's see if you have duplicate opportunities turned on.
Okay, go to settings.
Yeah, leave it here. It's going to be over here somewhere. Scroll down. No, no, you want to go to business profile. Just leave it at business
Oh,
profile.
and then
And then you
scroll.
scroll down here. Keep going down. So stop. It's off. So now go ahead and turn this on. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to back to your actual survey. So go back. And what I do, actually, let's go back to business profile because this will be a good trick for everybody. So go back to business profile, go to your settings, business profile. Everybody should have, this is my opinion. I believe you should have duplicate opportunities on because you want them in multiple pipelines, or if you have them coming in, if you have multiple jobs. I want duplicate contacts off. So go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Allow duplicate contact off. This is good. Find existing contacts based on phone first, email second. This is good. Because how many phone numbers do you guys have? Personal phone numbers you have? Most people have like one, right?
One.
You might have multiple, but for your personal phone, it's usually going to be one.
Oh, yeah, I only have one
Yeah,
for my,
but now how many emails do you guys have? Quite a
One.
few, right? So that's why we always start with phone, then email. So this is how we want it done, right?
I didn't know that, but that's good information to know.
Yeah, I always start with this is an issue I was talking with Omar about yesterday. He had email first, phone second, and it was messing up his automations because he couldn't find the people coming into his thing. All we did was switch phone first, email second. That's all we
That
did.
makes a whole lot of sense. I really never even thought, I don't even know how I got that way. So I guess I just,
And the standard, I believe the basic setup is email then phone. But if I were
oh,
you guys, I would check that. The only time in which I would keep email first is if you know you're dealing with like a corporate, if you're dealing with higher end clients who are doing everything through that business email, that's fine, but that's very few people.
yeah,
So
that's,
now let's go back, and now what I'm going to look at is I want to see if, because duplicate opportunities was on, let's go to your survey itself, or it was not on. I don't know if it was trying to move it or if it in fact was creating a new one. So we're going to go, no, we want to go to sites,
or,
surveys, and go to the hiring survey, or whichever
um,
survey that she did last. So go to builder.
I think it's a form actually. It's weird. It's a form that she filled out. It's this form right here.
Okay. So now what I want to look for is I want to look for are these opportunities. So go ahead and click on this. Actually, yeah, click on that. So this is going to be your standard one, right? Now let's
Mhm.
scroll down to where you have your custom fields. All right, now stop. Let's click on just any one of those favorites. Okay. So now what I want to see is go to advanced settings, scroll down.
That's all. Let me go any further.
All right, go back up, go to options. All right, go to this open field one, advance again, go down. All right, go back up. All right, let's go to notifications. Okay, you can close that.
Oh, I don't know what I just did.
Scroll down again. Go to TV shows, just pick another random one.
I need to fix that phone number.
Collect is fine. Okay, go to advanced. Scroll down. Scroll back up. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for something where it might say create opportunity or coordinate opportunities. Go ahead and click on this one here.
I'm sorry, I didn't see where you X'd. Where did you, right here?
Yeah. Options, form settings. Okay, so it looks like you did everything the right way. So now let's go back and go to your automations.
Um,
And what we can do also, let's go to settings really quickly
oh,
and go to custom fields.
oh,
So now I want you to type in one of your questions that you had, like what are your favorite, whatever. So go back to all fields. Don't go to folders. Just type in like coffee.
I think it was coffee.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, good. So see how these are contact, they're not opportunity. So that means it's not creating an opportunity from the survey. This is good. So now we can go back and go to automations.
Um,
So go
okay.
back, go automation, and then let's go to your hiring pipeline for favorite things.
So that's what I'm saying is so it's not in here because once the outcome, once I hire them, they get a tag and they get moved to onboarding.
Okay.
So then that tag ends up,
So one
um,
thing too that you can do is I would stop using tags the way that you're using them because I think you're gonna overflow like tags on people. I would just move them to that stage. So like if you go back to your hiring one, all you have to do is once the outcome is hired, just move them to the hired stage. You don't have to add the tag hired. You could add like active as a tag, but for
oh, good idea. So not the employee on board, just tag them with employee because I like to know that they're an employee. How
yeah.
would I, And then, but then the trigger for onboarding would just be they moved to that stage, right?
And the trigger for them moving to that stage would be your internal survey with the outcome. Do you want to hire them? Yes. Move to that stage onboarding.
So then instead of being a tag here, it's going to be moved to that stage,
It
right?
would be, yeah, it'd be moved to that stage. And then in the automation before that, you would have an internal automation that says, what was the outcome of this interview? Showed up or didn't show up? If they
Mm-hmm.
showed, what was the outcome? The outcome could be hired, waitlisted, not interested.
Yeah,
If you
that's
put
exactly what it
hired,
is.
yeah, if you put hired under the action for hired, it's going to be move to stage.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
action directly under that is move to stage. Then your trigger here is move to stage.
Okay,
So that's what
perfect.
you're trying to do. And so
Okay,
so
so
if you do not have any automations for that survey submitted, right? You need to create an automation for that survey submitted and see if that counters it. So for example, how do they get to that form? At what point are you sharing that form with them?
well, they move here to the onboarding stage. And then they go through this series of things. And then here at the end, they get an SMS that says fill it out. And then based off of when they fill it out, um, this is
Okay, so you do, but this is what I'm talking about. So you do have an automation from the
mhm,
form submitted for your favorite thing.
yes. So form submitted, your favorite things, and then
Cancel.
it just puts a note in there, and then it sends us an internal notification that it's been completed.
Okay.
But then as soon as she completes it, if I could show you, if you go to her contact information, um, what's her name? Her name is
You
Cherie.
have an automation somewhere that's moving her. So that's where I
Yeah.
would say you need to look.
So see, as soon as right here, as soon as she filled this out at 4:54, so she filled it out at 4:54, it moved her to open status
So click
right here
open.
and put her back through in the to put her back through the leads.
So
And
scroll down.
so I'm wondering if when she fills out the
Look,
form,
look, look. Pause for a second.
okay,
Created by workflow.
right. How do
So
I,
just click that workflow, and whatever pops up is going to be the workflow that's moving her.
well, that's what I was going to ask you next. Is it possible that when she fills out the form for your favorite things, it's the system is seeing all of her answers, like all of it's seeing the thing, the assessment where the assessment moves her here. It's seeing that again, and that's
So go
what's
to the
putting
top,
her
but
back
that
over
wouldn't be a
here.
trigger. So you go to the top, go to the top of this trigger. So click on this, and there's your problem.
Oh, because I don't have
So
a,
every time you're submitting a form, it's going through this. Every form ever submitted is going through this.
yay, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you so much. Like this is
Of
so
course.
helpful.
So notice like this is not to like
No, bash me, it's fine.
no, it's not to bash you at all. But notice how like what I was telling remember what I told you before? I said it takes 90% of the time is just finding it. And then you see how fast once I found it, did I tell her what to do? No, she knew right away. But it was a matter of like going through the things. And so I'll use that to move into like the content piece. Think about this. When somebody tells you, I can get high level cheaper, I can get Zapier cheaper, I can get blip blorp, blang bling CRM cheaper, I can get this cheaper. That is true. Patricia, how long were you racking your brain over that?
At least 4 hours.
4 hours. Patricia, how much do you value your time per hour?
I value it very high.
Give me a low number. Give me like a pessimistic number of your time per hour.
Um, $300 an hour.
There you go. If I'm saying I'm on standby for 497 a month, my team's on standby for 1500 a month, for 1000 a month, fixing that one problem and having her not worry about it right there makes it up for it. And I'll tell you, you guys want to hear the crazier
Mhm.
thing? The time wasn't her biggest frustration. It's a frustrating point. It's not her biggest frustration. The biggest frustration is feeling like, where the heck is it? Like, what am I doing
Yeah,
wrong? And then what happens? Patricia's been in this game for a while, so she's tough. But if you're not, what happens if you're not?
you give up.
You start feeling like a
Not good enough.
loser. You start feeling
Yeah.
like a loser. Now I
I was
know,
there.
Yeah, yeah, right. She's saying I was there. Omar and I had to build something out yesterday. He's like, I've been looking at this for a while. I don't know what it is. Listen, and Omar's very good at building things. Patricia's very good at building things. I'm very good at building things. There's times I have to go ask somebody, and there's times that people who are so bad at high level will say, "Oh, have you thought about that?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's so smart." And like they don't know high level well at all. So the benefit of kind of what I want to show you is right there. Imagine now Patricia's a client of Alex, and she just goes, "This keeps happening. Can you take a look at it?" And I reach back out to her in about 15 minutes because that's how long it took us. 15 minutes. I'm like, "Oh, done." You see what I'm
I
saying?
just couldn't figure it out. I was like, okay, wait a minute. There's the workflow. Okay, this is, I just couldn't, I was like, I think it was just too close to it. And I was skipping over the top because I was focused on
Yeah. You're focused on
where
where,
it was bringing her in. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So that is like the best example of like how you can justify, even if you're just doing high level, even if you're just reselling it, which is a really stupid idea.
hmm.
But if you even if you're just reselling it, do you see how I'm just like, oh yeah, you just reach out, we'll fix it for you. That white glove in and of itself, and knowing what to do, how to do it, because now, how long do you think it'll take Patricia to fix the next one? Way faster. Alex been doing this all day, every day for 4 years, 5 years, right? You
If
don't
I
pay
do
the
nothing
plumber for
else
how
this
fast he
week,
does it, because Patricia just said it took her 4 hours at 300 an hour. Alec does it in 15 minutes. Should I be penalized for doing it in 15 minutes? No, I'm going to put you on a retainer. So now it
no,
helps
because
your budget and it benefits me because I can do it in 15 minutes, so I get my time back. She got 4 hours back, which is valued at 300 an hour. She just got $1,200 back. I just justified my $600 a month, 500 a month, 1,000 a month rate. She's happy. I'm happy. That's the beauty of being a specialist.
yeah. So if I do nothing else this week, I'm still successful.
There you go.
We fixed one thing. You helped me fix one thing.
And that's my pitch to people who are watching that are not in SASO. You guys can bring problems before we even jump in the content because how difficult is going to be to pay attention if you're like, I have this problem on my brain. You can't. I mean, I can at least. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys are stronger than me mentally, but I'm weak. We're going to go ahead and pull up the screen share and we're going to get into content. So we're going to do, this is not going to be that lengthy. I want to kind of go through it pretty quickly because then there's going to be a lot of questions around it. And we do have a hard stop at 1:30 today because I've got a client build afterwards. So I want to cover, like I said, just the kind of like the engagement aspect. We can cover like the YouTube stuff too, but we go in depth on that pretty well. I want to cover like the actual engagement, the posts on your socials. Okay. Now, in doing this, it's gonna be relatively quick. I want everybody to know I'm not speaking to you. So if I say something that you're like, ouch, I did that, he's probably talking to me, not true. Now, if the shoe fits, that's on you. Okay. That's on you if the shoe fits. Okay. And I think the
Ouch.
shoe is gonna fit for a lot of people. But we'll go ahead and jump in. So when we're doing content, I can cover this topic in the order that I think we need to cover it in. But I think for a lot of you, if you are getting results, here's the number one thing you need to do, or you need to realize: if you are getting results doing the wrong thing, you will keep doing the wrong thing. Say it again. If you are getting rewarded for doing the wrong thing, you will keep doing the wrong thing. So if you make a terrible post and you get very lucky and get a client off of it, and you triple down on that method, and it doesn't get you anything else, you got rewarded for doing the wrong thing. It's going to happen. Okay. We want to look at your numbers and we want to improve those numbers. That's why we have the accountability tracker, which going into March, we're going to start doing weekly calls on that to make sure that people who want to follow it are following it. But so far, once we had that out, a lot of more people are putting out content and doing it the right way. So we covered this a little bit. I'm going to run through this really quickly. Who is your dream client? Your dream client, I don't care who you are. If you tell me this is not true, then you're probably better off developing your own SaaS. So first and foremost, if you're thinking my dream client is somebody who pays me and I don't talk to them, and we have minimal conversations, you're not going to go anywhere. I'm just telling you right now. You're living in a fever dream. If you have a problem with that, you can voice it or you can DM me. I'm going to tell you right now, I've never seen anybody make it ever. So if you're thinking, well, I'm going to do the SaaS bullcrap reselling that everybody tells me to do, it's not going to work. Again, don't believe me, go try it out. Did anybody see the post? Omar, I think you saw it. Did anybody see the post where some lady, this happens every month, screenshots all the advertisements, the marketing assets of their competition? How am I supposed to compete when they're charging 97 a month for all this stuff? And I'm doing the same thing and I can't compete because wah, I wish they charged more than me so I could underbid them. And I basically said, a guy said it too, a lady said it, two people said it in the group, and I basically said, listen, like you guys are the gas stations of high level. Like I'm not, the words may hurt, but I'm not trying
No,
to be hurtful. You are the gas station of high level.
that's good.
If you speak to everybody, you have to lower your prices because other people are speaking to everybody. You have nothing that makes you stand out. Your only advantage is price. So what can you do with price? You can go lower, or you can try to get your cost lower. And if your cost lower, your product is crappier. That's it. That is it. There's no ifs, ands, buts around that. Okay. Number two, if you like, I want to say this really quickly. GHL is not SaaS. I'm going to burst that bubble right now. I'm going to burst that bubble right now. Just because you vote on their product map does not mean that you own the SaaS. You own the SaaS. Let me ask you a question. I'll do this when we move on to dream clients because I want to really drive this home for everybody who's still saying, let me speak to everybody. Because I'm telling you right now, it's like I'm watching you chain smoke. It's like I came back from 2025 where we know chain smoking is bad. I'm going back to 1930s and you guys are just chain smoking. And it's like you don't understand it yet because you don't have the hole in your throat in the little, I don't know, Yoda voice talk thing, right? So watch this. I want somebody to tell me what is the barrier to entry to signing up for high level?
Having $97.
Having
Thought it was a penny.
$97 and what, a sign up form?
Actually, that's you don't even need $97. You can get it for free for 14 to 30 days, depending.
Let's be dramatic. Let's say it is 97. But yeah, you're
Okay.
right. Let's say it is 97, a sign up form and what else? An email? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, internet. Jesse had
Internet?
it.
No, this is good.
Credit card.
Maybe like a debit card
And that would
Yeah.
help.
and maybe like a laptop. Guys, check it out. If you are the person watching this video in these calls, watching this later, if you're the person, and you guys are going to see this, if this is all it takes for your competition to catch up with you, don't come to me. Don't go to anybody saying, I don't know why I'm not successful. What do you mean? Look at your barrier to entry. Now watch this. What is the barrier to entry to creating GHL itself?
Let's start with spending a few million in developer fees.
Easily, easily. We're gonna put one M plus. You need to this alone, one M plus.
Employees.
You need staff. You need vision. You need a vision around value. Holy cow, that's a tough one for a lot of
You
people.
need some amazing infrastructure,
Yeah,
servers, data farms.
you need insane infrastructure. You need insane hardware.
Yep.
Look, right away, right away. Oh, and then you need probably investors. You need capital, some kind of cash infusion for that.
Hmm.
So when people tell me, "Oh, high level of SaaS," no, you are reselling SaaS, and all your competition has to do is that. This is owning your own software. Now we can argue, "Oh, I can use Bubble and do it cheaper, and I can use all these no code." You can 100%. You 100% can because it's getting easier and easier. But if you think that high level is your software, listen, you're whatever you're on, it's got to be really good and really strong. That's all I'm going to say. So if we want a dream client, if we want people who, even if we don't have to spend a lot of time with them, what we want is we want somebody who is valuing money over time. Why?
They have a business.
But why do we want them spending money over time?
So that they give us the money and we do the
So they
time.
give you the money. We don't want them spending time. How many of you guys, because you guys are all in my DIY program, because that's why you're here. How many of you guys pay me 3,000 a month? Nobody, right?
Hmm.
Because you guys are here on my DIY offer. That's why when I structure my calls, I do it twice a week so I can minimize how much time I'm spending on my DIY offer so I can maximize how much money I'm making in that hour, which sometimes, as you guys know, becomes 3 hours, right? So I try to minimize my time to make sure that I'm getting more money in that hour working with people who have more time than money. So a dream client of mine has more money than time, right? Number two, their dream client of mine views me as a subject matter expert. So they want a SME. I don't care what case it is. If you're really good at funnel building, great. You can build funnels really well. You don't have to necessarily be niche down. Niching down can be done in a product. The problem is that every time I say niche down in terms of a product, people go, oh, well, I just sell funnels. I just do that. And they miss what I'm trying to say. How do we identify what a SME is? SME is an expert, subject matter expert, right? I'm going to spell it out for you guys. Subject matter
Yeah.
expert. You have to have a subject matter that you are the expert of. So what does Alec teach you to do? Alec says, find where you are already performing extremely well and adopt that. What would be easier for Patricia to learn the cleaning space or for Patricia to learn the plumbing space? That's not to put her down. She's already very well versed in the cleaning space. Why would I put a subject matter expert doesn't care about what they're not a subject matter expert in? Like, well, I don't do plumbing. I do cleaning. Right? Omar speaks English and Spanish very well. Omar, would it be easier for you to learn more English or would it be easier for you to learn Russian?
No, English.
More English. Like, why would
Hey,
we
that's well, new
restart?
comrade.
Right. Why would we restart? There's no point. So what I say is I say, hey, find where you can be viewed as this fast, right? Next. So we have money over time, wants a subject matter expert, right?
Hmm.
And then the next piece is basically going to be releases authority. They're willing to work with you. They're going to release authority to you and they're going to cooperate. This is, in my opinion, like the best of the best with a dream client. We can even add in here good comms, like good communication. So right here, like I kind of put that with release authority because if they trust you, they're going to listen to how you wanted to do it and all that. But we can further specify releasing authority and
I would add coachable.
that's where I'd put all that in with releasing authority, in my
Is it?
opinion.
Okay.
Because the reason for that is if you release authority to me, you are saying my business and the success of what I do is in your hands.
Oh,
So
oh,
I'm gonna have
okay.
to,
I
yeah.
was seeing it as the SME was releasing content that is authority content.
No. This is who the dream client is. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
So then for you,
Reconnected.
how do we, yeah. So then kind of going into that, how do you become, and this is going into the content piece, how do you become viewed as a subject matter expert? So
Create content.
let's look at the top one. Yeah. So number one, we have to have a voice. And I like a free voice. I don't want to have to pay to speak. So that's going to cut out SMS, email, all those things. Okay. The reason being is that they can come in, yes, but I'm not talking mid funnel, below top. I'm talking about top of funnel. So what I want is I want my voice to be free. So I'm going to use social media. Why else is social media good? Again, you guys know this if you've gone through the course. Why else is social media good? Social media is free and you can go through a history of that person's content. So I can see Patricia didn't just send me one email. Simon didn't call me one time. They engage with me. I can see all their content, and that's going to position me. It's free, so I'm putting out free content. It gives me a history, which gives me validation because now I've done it multiple times, which is going to build trust. It's going to be social. Social is going to build trust because I can see who you are. I can see you adding value. Okay. And then from these things, because you can talk for free, you can have a ton of history. You can be social as much as you want. There's no limit. There's no limit on your audience size. There's no limit on communication. There's no limit on DMs. None of that. So I'm using these things. So the question becomes, how do we use those things to be perceived as the expert, right? That's kind of what we're covering. So any questions so far? Any complaints? Any disagreements? Before we get into like the good stuff. Would anybody say, no, I completely disagree. I'd do something different? Okay, let's move on. So next is going to be, how do we speak to the dream client? Number one, let's go through some very simple questions. Number one, we don't need this. We talk about dream client. Does anybody want nightmare clients?
Yes.
Anybody want a nightmare client?
So I can say no.
So Simon says yes, so we can shoot him down. Anybody want a nightmare client like just to work with it at all?
Yeah, no.
No. Patricia says no. Let's see chat. No. Jesse says no, they're too expensive. Anybody? So nobody wants a nightmare client. Okay, I told you guys I'm gonna tell you things that might hurt your feelings, but I'm gonna tell you with love. Okay. Stop talking to them. Stop. Just stop talking to them. So think about this. If we don't want nightmare clients, what's a nightmare client? It's somebody who has more time than money, who does not want a subject matter expert, and who refuses to release authority. So stop talking to them. Don't put your content around talking to that kind of client. If you speak to people that you can't stand, who are you spending all of your day with? The people who are so angry in like social media comments, what are they doing? They're complaining. They're just whining all day long. It's like, yeah, no wonder you're ungrateful and unhappy and your whole life is miserable and you're taking out on other people. You're surrounding yourself with people's content you can't stand. Get away from them. You know, it's funny, 80/20 talks about this. Identify your happy islands, what triggers you to be happy. Do more of that. Identify what triggers you to be sad, frustrated, annoyed, anything negative. Stop doing that. That's a pretty big trigger. Stop talking to them. Fire them. Get rid of them. Oh, but I need the money. Listen to me right now. You've got to put your pride aside. Number one, if you get rid of that client, you have room for a new client. You have more bandwidth. I had a client who was taking up like 30 hours of my week. 30 hours. Gone. Mental health went through the roof. Money went through the roof. But I'm like, oh, it's kind of, I mean, it's a nice little paycheck. Replace it with two way better clients immediately. Stop letting fear dictate what you're doing. Play it like a game. If you need the money that badly, you should be working a part-time or full-time job. And you should earn the right to do this full-time. If you're hanging on to just bad clients because you have so much pride that you can't go back to that, that's a you problem. Again, I told you, I'm going to tell you things from a place of love, but it doesn't mean it's going to make you feel great. Stop talking to nightmare clients. Are you ready for this? Only talk to dream clients. That's it. Only talk to dream clients. That's it. So if I'm talking about somebody who wants more money over time, who has more money than time? The beginners or the intermediate advanced people?
Advanced.
Advanced. So don't make a video, don't make content, don't speak to people who are like, hey, here's how to set up your GBP. That's a beginner problem. Instead, you need to say, hey, here's how to further optimize your GBP to bring in more leads. Or, hey, here's how to get to 1,000 reviews. Here's how to go from 3 figures to 4-figure reviews. Don't say, here's how to get your first 5 reviews. Who are you targeting? Beginners. Beginners don't have money. Don't speak to beginners. You can make content if you really want to for them, for views, to kind of prime them up. That's like a Hormozy thing. But when did Hormozy do that? Hormozy didn't do that. No professional that you see made beginner content starting out. They talked to their dream clients, then they went back and made beginner content to get more people when they got to the stage of dream client to want to work with them. What does Hormozy say in his acquisition course training? What does he say? He goes, I'm making this content for free so that one day, if you guys get to that point, you can come work with me. Or if you're already there, you can come work with me. He's doing it as a way to get you to view him as a SME. So when you have more money than time, you go to work with him and you'll release authority because he's helped you with the free stuff. But he didn't start with that. So you start with who is my dream client, make content speak to them, land them, systemize your process. Then you can package it into smaller and smaller things that take less of your time. Is that not exactly what verbatim Hormozy says he did?
Mm-hmm.
Gym launch, perfected it. It was high ticket. Layla was selling it like crazy, bundled it, made it smaller. That was his early career, like 2012 to 16, 2018. Then he started talking to beginners because now he was positioned as a SME. He had his white coat. He had a lot of people who had more money than time. And then he started making more money by talking and packaging lower. So now when people are ready, they release authority. So just because you see your favorite entrepreneur, your favorite content creator talking to beginners, doesn't mean you need to talk to beginners. You need to look at how do they get there? How do I get there? And then look at what are they doing now? Now that I'm there, I can do that. Again, when I explain it like that, maybe you're like, I don't know. Great. You're wrong. With love, you're wrong. It would be like going to the gym and saying, oh, this guy, he only squats 800, 900, 1,000 pounds. because he's doing that today, I'm going to do it. You're not ready. You're going to literally pick the bar up and die. It will crush you. Would anybody get under the bench? You've never bench pressed before in your life. You're like, yeah, throw 400, 500 pounds on it. No, you would die. It would fall into you. It would cave your chest in. But because you see the experts going in and they only work out for 45 minutes a day, you think, oh, I should only do that and I should no. So when I use it in that analogy, it makes way more sense, right? Think about this. Would you plan a random vacation with a stranger you've never met before for a week and you're going to share the same bed? No,
Oh,
that's very creepy, right? But check this out. Would you do it with your wife?
yeah.
Yeah, because you did all the things leading up to the moment to say, now we can plan a vacation. But if you just saw someone doing that, go, oh, let me plan it with a random guy, a random woman. No. So you have to do it in the right order. So only talk to your dream clients. Nobody should be talking to beginner level problems. If you skip beginner level problems, you can go straight into what? More conversions. You can go into split testing. You can go into automated job or project management. You can go into hiring pipelines. Please tell me one beginner that has any of those problems. You can't. If you say I have a brand new person that needs more conversions, no, they need leads. They don't even have anyone talking to. They're not even getting out there and knocking on doors. They're not even calling. They're not even making content on what they do. If you're like, oh, split testing, you can't split test when you have $5. What are you doing? You gotta get your leads up, right? I don't want to be the person to tell you you've got to go and do the work, the basic bare minimum work. Automated job management. You don't even know your process. How can I automate something that you don't even know? What's going to happen is I'm going to try to automate it. You're going to complain to me. I got to fix it 50 different times. And then you're going to fire me because you don't even have any money. Hiring pipeline. Who are you hiring? You a one-man show? You got no money. Go get some money. Go work. Their problem is just the bare minimum of work ethic, getting in front of people. And then as you're working in the space better and better, you'll understand the problems more and more. So this is just your basic offer, okay? So next, how do we release authority? Conviction. Stop asking me when you're telling me something. I think this is the best. No, listen, my experience, if you have a different experience, that's fine. My experience, this is the best way to do it. This way doesn't work because of A, B, and C. You have to be convicted in your content. You've got to be convicted in what you're saying. The easiest way to be convicted, watch this. Let me get a volunteer. Who is not confident in being confident? Who is not confident in their conviction? Who's not confident in what they feel like they know value-wise?
Definitely me.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You would say you're not confident, right?
Yeah.
How confident are you that you're not confident?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Right? You are confident that you're not confident, right?
Mm,
So it's not that you lack confidence, is that you're lacking confidence in what you believe that you're
mm,
trying to do.
mm,
So the way that we find confidence, let's assume you've never done this before. Here's how you find confidence. Just speak on what you know and what you know you will do.
mhm.
That's it. Ready, watch this. Adelina, what is the square root of 1389?
1389.
1389. Do you know the
Yeah.
square root of it? You have 2 seconds to answer. Do you know the square root?
No, not in 2 seconds.
No. Did you
Mm.
know confidently for a fact that you did not know the answer?
Yeah. I
You
know
can
what
be
you mean.
confident in not
Mm,
knowing. You can be confident in not being good. You can be confident in your lack of experience.
mm,
A brain
yeah.
surgeon is very confident that he or she is not good at ortho. A brain surgeon is very confident that he or she can't run or maybe they can. I was gonna say they couldn't run like one of those like ultra marathons, but I don't know, maybe they could.
Mm,
You
yeah.
can be confident in not knowing what you're good at doing. You can be confident in knowing you're not good at doing something. So confidence is just conviction of what you are saying. So if you are faking it, if you're trying to exaggerate what you can do, then you're going to lack conviction right away. They've done a physical study on this where they say, hold your hand out and they say, tell me your name. The guy goes, my name is Alec. And he pushes the hand down and it doesn't move. He goes, now tell me your name is Bob. He goes, my name is Bob. And the hand goes way down. Your body is physically weaker when you lack conviction because you are lying.
Mm,
So you have to
interesting.
have conviction. This is they've done scientific tests on this. When you're honest, you're convicted in your honesty. It is all from conviction. So don't lie. Don't fake it till you make it. That's the big. Anyone who tells you fake it till you make it, biggest load of horse crap ever. Because you're asking people to. They're asking you, or you're telling yourself, I have to deceive other people. Oh well, if you don't mention it, no, it's a lying by omission, and you know it. You're still going to be convicted now the wrong way.
Mm, yeah.
When I speak, I said, listen, I've never done this before. But here's what I know I can do, and here's what I'm going to do for a fact if I don't get it right. And because I need your help in making it better, I'm going to reach out to you every week. I just need you to reach out to me. And I know for a fact that if you communicate with me, I will do my best to build this. Conviction.
Yeah.
The lie only comes from, oh, I've done this before. Don't lie. Well, they're not going to work with me. Then you keep doing it until you find someone who does. Oh, but that's going to make me go slower. What's going to make you go slower is doing it the wrong way. It's going to
Yeah.
take time. If you want it done tomorrow, get a job application. You'll make money tomorrow.
I think they see through that. Some people, don't they?
A lot of people
They-
are pretty good at seeing through it, but
Yeah.
even if you're not, what's going to happen is you're going to build this foundation of lies that you have to A, remember, and B, build upon.
Mhm.
I would rather, because I'm very let's be pessimistic about ourselves for a second. Let's say I'm just stupid. I got way too, I mean, Adelina, you've got kids. I've got one kid and I can't remember half the stuff I need for the one kid. I don't even know how you do it with more than one. I got one kid, I got dogs, I got a wife, I got responsibility. I can't remember all the crap I have to now lie about.
Mm.
And you know what's funny is that people would rather work with you because of who you are than what you're telling them most of the time. So if what you're telling them meets the bare minimum threshold and they like you, they'll be like, hey, you know what? I think this can work out pretty well. I had a cleaning client who was sending me a project who is gonna be a pretty nice client, nice size client. Made a post in high level. I said, oh yeah, this is something I do. DM'd a little bit. I recorded him a Descript video. And I just said, hey, man, I haven't actually used your CRM before, but I've used this, and here's what I've done, and here's what I'd recommend doing. Now, because I don't know it, I'd want to work with you closely, and then we can do this. If it goes right, we keep it. If it doesn't go right, or if you just don't even like it, we'll change it. And I've never used a CRM before. 4 people reached out to him. Guess who he wants to work with?
You.
Me. And you know what he cited in the thing? In this video, listen to me, I'm not kidding. In the video, I stuttered, I stumbled, I laughed at myself for stuttering and stumbling. I made some very corny dad jokes. I was literally authentically myself. So I can say everything I'm saying with conviction because it's just being myself.
Mhm.
And guess what? He's either going to say, I love your personality, or he's going to say, wow, you're a weirdo and a freak. If I'm a weirdo and a freak, let me find that out now, like Simon said, so I can get that out of the way. Right? But if I'm a good fit and he can see, okay, this guy's kind of funny, he's corny, I think it's a good fit. I like what he's saying. I can sprinkle that in. That conviction leads to confidence, and people are drawn to confidence. That's why you've got cult leaders who are talking about how breathing rituals will change. I don't know, maybe they're kind of good, right? Or manifestation. You guys know I have big beef with manifestation, but the big manifestation people, right? They just say it with confidence. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. They did a study where they had 5 people. I kid you not, this is a true study. Look it up. 5 people, and they would ask them, "What is 2 plus 2?" So everybody answer, "What is 2 plus 2?"
Or
4. So this guy
5.
says 5. This guy says 5. This guy says 5. This guy says 5. And this is the only person that the experiment is being run on. How many times do you think they said 4? What percent? We know it's the right answer. Does anybody think 2 plus 2 is 5? We know it's the right answer.
Well,
How many people do you think 4 when they said 2 plus 2? Give me percentages.
50%.
Okay, 50% is 1. What else? Give me 2 more.
Less than 50%.
You said
Like
less
30.
30.
Yeah.
Give me another one.
20.
20% is the right answer. Isn't that crazy? Go look it up on YouTube. They have experiments where they're in a room doing like an interview or a paper quiz, and they start bellowing smoke under the doors, and nobody gets up. And the person who's not in on the experiment, go look at how many times they don't get up from a room on fire. They don't get up.
Wow.
Because they're not convicted. There's no conviction. Society peer pressures you to do the wrong thing. You have to have conviction in what you're doing. That's why when everyone tells Alec, go run a social media marketing agency, and Alec goes, no, there's money. The bigger problem that people have is in conversions and in sales systems. And then what was the video I shared with you guys last week from Alex Hormozy? Automated sales systems are going to be the future. I've been telling you that for how long? I told you guys when you guys joined, I told you guys I have weird vision with this stuff. I see this stuff a mile away. And people go, no, I think I'm going to stay generic web services. That's fine. If you're getting good business, that's fine. But I'm seeing where the trends are going, and I've not been wrong yet. So let's get into how we actually. And then one more step, and then we make the content. Let me actually make that legible. Skeptical. You need to look at your content. Listen to me. You've got to be your biggest fan and your biggest hater at the same time. You got to look at your content and say, am I happy with this? Do I think this is going to work? Would this work on me? If the answer is no, it's not, don't put it out there. Don't just say, I made my content, act over made my content. It's not a checkbox. You have to be skeptical with your content. You have to be a perfectionist with your content. Now watch this. When you're a perfectionist, I just want 80% perfectionism. Why? Because if you do 100%, you're never going to get there. You're never going to make your content. If you say this is 80% perfect, you give yourself permission to put out something that you know you've acknowledged is not 100% perfect, but it's really good for what you can do. Remember last group call, I showed you guys my YouTube, my first YouTube video ever. At the time, that was my 80%. What happens to my standard? It goes up. So my new 80%, that content would have probably been like 10% of my new 80%. But it took this first, then to upgrade here, right? Again, if you see a baby crawling, you're like, wow, that's great. If you see an adult crawling, you're like, okay, unless he's injured, this dude is a weirdo, right? Big difference. Because as you age, as you mature in the business, your standard has to mature. But you also have to be skeptical. So the best rule is 80%. Just be 80%. If you want to go for 100, that's fine, but you have to put out content very, very frequently, right? Yeah, like Grant and I, like look what Grant's comment says. We will remake a 30-minute YouTube video 5 times. His last video he did on his own, way better. His first video, we redid it like 7 or 8 times. His next video was like 3 or 4 times. We had another video where it was like, great, he edited it, it wasn't great, I re-edited it. This last video, he did the whole thing himself. Could I have done better? Sure. Has he improved every single video? 1000%. His content by the end of the year versus the beginning of the year is going to be night and day. He's going to look back just like I did, and he's going to laugh. Now, I don't laugh at him because he's, again, baby to toddler to kid to right? I go, hey, I remember when I was there, just like I don't laugh at a toddler. I remember when I was there. Here's what I need to do to help you learn, right? Like if you've got older kids, unless again they have some kind of disability, you're probably not wiping their butt for them, right? So there's this period where you go, listen, you're too young to wipe your butt. Now you're potty training. Now you're good at going to the potty. Moms and dads, you can relate. You go to the potty, but I have to come wipe for you. And now you go to the potty and you wipe. And now you go to the potty and you wipe well. And now you're all good. You're potty trained, right? It's the same thing with everything you do in life. But you've got to be skeptical. You've got to be skeptical. Now let's look into how we're skeptical with our content. So let's talk Facebook, IG. I want to do more written posts. LinkedIn. Anybody using X? Not really. If you're on X, you're probably talking to other like you're probably doing like more video editing or something like that. So let's go with Facebook, and Facebook's probably gonna be your biggest one if you're doing blue collar. LinkedIn is another good one I'm gonna be starting this year myself. So when you're making content, let's start written first. Are you gonna read? Well, let's do the experiment. What kind of content would you not read? So you're scrolling, you see something, you're not reading it, you're not even entertaining it. What does that content look like? I'm not reading any text walls. Not reading that. If you have a corny image or a selfie, not reading that. I'm not. If you have this, I'm scrolling right past that thing. What does that have to do with your business? I'll see yourself, your face in the video content. I'm not reading your selfie stuff. You guys want to see my high standard because I'm usually like, you guys know I'm very like, I try to be motivational to you guys. You're gonna see my high standards here. I'm not reading anything with heavy emojis. A few is fine. I'm not reading anything heavy emoji. I'm not reading anything with we. Not talking French. I'm talking like we at our team. I'm not talking, I don't want to read that because you're just trying to tell me some corporate mumbo jumbo. I don't want to read it. Unless there's a picture, again, this is why I talk about the corner. Unless there's a picture of like you and your team, then I might read we. If it's you and your spouse or you and your kid, then I might read we of what we did. I'm not reading any tips and tricks. Here's 5 ways to bye. I don't care. I'm not reading that. Somebody give me weird things that you guys can't stand.
Some sound like they've been written with AI. Like
I'm not reading
to
anything AI.
yeah, yeah.
So what am I going to read? I'm going to read, and this is like the 2 minutes of actual value if you're like, what do I actually put out there? But I want
Did
to
you
tell you
say
what
you're
not
not
to do.
reading tips and tricks?
Yeah, I'm not reading any tips and tricks. Not doing it. Who needs tips and tricks?
Beginners.
People who don't want to pay you.
No, beginners.
Oh, I guess I'm thinking about cleaning clients. Sorry, I am in a different realm.
But beginners too for cleaning clients, like if they want to do it themselves, if you phrase it in tips and tricks, now here's the thing. I still need text. We still can use images. We still can use emojis. We can still use personal pronouns. We can still have tips and tricks and we can still use AI. But if I identify those things, I'm not reading it. So how do we actually write it out? If I want to have a tip and trick, I want everything I'm doing needs to be A to Z with conflict. This is what I'm doing for my long posts. And for short posts, I want highly engaging content that guess what it's going to do? It's going to lead to conflict. Anybody let parents for a second. Anybody have a kid and your kid's telling you a story and it's like the most boring story ever because they're just like, and we did this and we did that and then we went here and then the teacher said, and you're like, oh my God, I love this kid, but holy cow, right? My daughter's not there yet, but I'm getting ready for it. It's a boring story. Sorry. It's boring. You love your kid, so you listen. You know what's really bad is when your kid's friend starts telling you a story and you're like, okay, I've got no emotional tie to this kid. This story just sucks. Right? You have to have conflict in every story. So when you're writing, number one, one line paragraphs. That's number one. And by the way, the percentage for long posts, this should be once a week, maybe twice at most. This should be more frequent, probably. And I'd probably say like 1 to 3 times a week on the long post. And this should be more frequent. Test your iterations. Just test it. I'm doing 1-line paragraphs, number one. Rare emojis. If I'm going to use emojis, I'm only going to use negative ones. Sad, disgusted, angry, negative ones only. Because now I can exaggerate the conflict without actually being too demonstrative, which is going to lead people to be like, okay, maybe he's too drama oriented. But if I use emojis like, yeah, that was gross, and I put like the throw up face, I don't have to say, yeah, that was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. No, that was gross. Bleh, right? I can exaggerate the conflict without actually going in on and without being too dramatic. 1-line paragraphs, rare emoji use, story driven, just A to Z with conflict. Go look at Jenny Hoyas, 18-year-old at the time. She was doing like 1 billion views on YouTube Shorts. This is her exact flow she would always do. If you do a bunch of ands, you're going to screw yourself over. So you do this. X, but Y, so Z. I wanted to go to the park today, but it was raining. So we built an indoor playground. That is more engaging. Not, it was raining today, so we couldn't go to the park. So we went home. That's boring. Same story, boring. This happened, but why? So Z. And then this repeats. So Z, but X, So Z, and it just repeats just over and over every single time. That is how you're just putting your content in. At the end, you can have a CTA. Your CTA should mostly be engagement, sometimes a offer, but what you can do is you can just comment the offer under your own post. So you can have your whole post, no CTA, and then in your own comments, you can comment, hey, if you want to work with me, book a call here. You can do that in every single one of your posts. So this is what I'm looking for every time I'm doing content.
Alec, just a question, because in your content you use like a Word document. Does that kind of help you? Because you're kind of
So
half
this is
reading
written
from what?
posts. This is
Oh,
not
okay.
YouTube videos.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, yeah. Now on
okay.
YouTube, I use the written post because it's way easier to read off the screen than it is to memorize. I'm just lazy. So
Yeah.
we can cover that one tomorrow if you guys would
Oh,
like
okay.
YouTube stuff. But for the written posts, this is what I'm doing. One line paragraphs, rare use of emojis if I am negative, story driven A to Z with conflict, CTA, and then comment. Now the
Oh, yeah,
last
yeah.
piece is, and Jesse is here, so I'm gonna pick on Jesse because he's like crushing it with content right now. Jesse can tell you in the comments, or if he wants to come off mute, whatever he's better with. Jesse can tell you every time he made a post that was just like, oh, business owners, I would scream at him and be like, who? Who?
Mm.
And he would go back and he'd be like, he would say, metallic. I don't even think I'm saying it right. Metallic epoxy guys. They do the most beautiful work ever. I got on their TikTok. Holy cow, I could watch that stuff for like days. So beautiful. But I would just say, who? Like, who are you speaking to? Because what is the A to Z if it's not about who? Like, hey, you remember when you go to the grocery store? Grocery store? We're talking about metal epoxy guys. We're talking about residential cleaners. We're talking about agency owners. We're talking about landscapers. Unless that's going to correlate into like what we're talking about, what are we talking about? This has to be the core of everything. And then the who ties back to your dream clients. So when you're talking to them, talk to the money issues, not the time issues. Be a subject matter expert. Talk to the subject matter expert. Speak to people who are willing to release authority. Don't be nice. Don't be nice. Be convicted. Through conviction, you can be nice, but the core thing of what you should be doing is conviction. I can help you if you do this. If you can't do that, I can't help you. Oh, but Alec, I need the money. Go get a part-time job if it's that bad. Or just do what I've been telling you guys to do from the beginning. If I need it tomorrow, go get a part-time job. You will have more time. I kid you not. Ask Jesse, ask Simon, ask Omar, ask anybody who has a business. You will have more time if you work a part-time job than if you hire on a bad customer.
Fact.
And you'll have more money. So when you here's my challenge for you guys, and then I got to jump for this call. One line paragraphs. Be clear on who you're speaking to. Understand the A to Z that you're taking them through. If you don't know your A to Z, you don't know your offer. Write it in a way that creates conflict, or at least brings it to the surface. You want more clients, but you don't want to pay for them. So what should you do? You should make this. Here's what you should do. Here's now ready, right, Patricia? The tip and trick. You need to create and optimize your Google business profile. And it's not enough to have 5, 10 reviews. You need to look at your competition, the top three, and you need to aim for that top person. My brother's gonna be a detailer in Sarasota. We're starting his business, launching it this Saturday.
Ooh.
I go, how many reviews does the top guy have? He's like 300. I go, great, that's our number. So we need to get to 400 because we looked at how many reviews he's getting a year. I'm like, great, we just need to get more. So we need to get to 400 within the next 2 years.
Mine is over 400.
So
Not my reviews, my top competitor.
so you need 600 reviews. But see, now we have a goal. And now think about it. Who has 400 reviews to get to 600? Who wants to get to 600? Not a beginner. They got to get to 5. They got to get to 10, right? So who are you speaking to? Speak to the money problems. Position yourself as an expert. Be clear on who you work with that release authority. And you can tell people, now listen, if you think you have a better way, I do this all the time. If you think you know better, but you have less money, you have less traction, you have less sales calls, you have a worse conversion rate, can you tell us why we should listen to you? I'm not going to say I'm going to disregard you completely, but I'm going to say, hey, if you don't have these things, like, can you explain why we should listen to you? Because either they're going to be quiet or they're going to correct me and I'm not going to look stupid because I didn't put my foot in my mouth. So the when you're writing your content, don't try to be too friendly, don't try to be too nice. Be convicted in what you're doing. A doctor's not going to come in and say, hey, I'm going to beat around the bush and tell you have cancer. No. They're going to be like, listen, I'm sorry to tell you, you have cancer. Here's what we got to do to fix it. And then let's say you reply back with, oh, can we try this really random therapy? And they go, I can't do that. They're not going to say, oh, I'll do it because it'll make you feel better and I could use the money. No. You'd be like, what kind of sham doctor is this? So why are you guys doing it in your agency? Speak to who you want to work with. Speak to intermediate and high income individuals. Speak to their problems. Speak with conviction because that conviction will lead to them releasing authority, and triple down on the fact that you are the person and you do it your way and your way is the only way. That's it. You can change your way, you can adapt your way, but your way is the way. That's it. So we'll go ahead and wrap up. Tomorrow we can start covering the YouTube content if you guys would like me to cover that. But with the Facebook posts, with the engagement, you can be nice, but you need to lead with conviction. And if you truly care about your client type, then being convicted should not be an issue. If you know chain smoking is bad, let's bring it full circle. If you know chain smoking is bad, are you going to sit back and be like, oh, well, it's not the greatest? No, you're like smack it out of their hand. Be like, what are you doing? You're going to be like, dude, that doesn't work. Like, that's so bad for you. Here are the symptoms. Are you experiencing these symptoms? Yeah, it's because chain smoking is killing your lungs. But you want to smoke, but you're experiencing symptoms that say it's bad. So what do? Oh, smoking cessation products. That's the whole way that offer came to be, right? The nicotine patches and the nicotine gum and the nicotine lollipops. My uncle loved those. You guys remember those nicotine lollipops? It's because
Mhm.
they had an oral fixation. That goes into 4 forces of selling. What is the habit? The habit is having something in your mouth. So they gave them a lollipop. There's a reason why they do all these things. It's not because, oh, they just made it and it worked. They put this thought into it because they know the market. So if you know your market, sell to your dream client, sell to the transformation they want to have, be the vehicle of transformation, and format it in a way that's actually enjoyable to read. If you write 50,000 lines, I'm not reading it. Not reading it. If you give me occasional short posts and then boom, you hit with a long one, I'll be like, oh, let me see what he has to say because I've engaged with his content before. If you're bland and boring and you're a blank piece of paper, I'm not going to do anything with that. That's boring. If you're colorful and there's things I like and don't like about you and I agree and disagree, oh, you're human. That's going to work way better. So you've got to be skeptical with your content. You have to be fearless with your content. Not even fearless, just be brave. Brave is just being bold in the face of fear. I'm worried how they're going to look at me. Guess what? If they're going to talk smack about you making content, I got bad news for you guys. They've been talking smack way before that.
They're more likely just to not engage.
They're going to talk smack either way. They're going to talk smack either way. If you have somebody who hates on your outfits, when you make content, they're going to hate on you more. So it's not like, oh, they're hating because I make content. They're hating on you because they hated you before. They're making fun of you now because they made fun of you before. You just now have a public platform where you're now seeing it. So again, if I can make content and I can weed out people who don't get on the sales call, I can make content and people who go, oh, you see Alex doing a little YouTube video and his camera quality is so bad. Okay, that's cool. That's less work for me to have to weed out real friends versus fake friends. Or that's less work for me to have to keep up with you because now you want to just make fun of me. Or that's less work because I don't have to go out with you. I'll hang out with people who actually care and support me. Why would I want to be around people who don't even like me to begin with? So if you're like, oh, they're gonna make fun of me and they're gonna say this and they're gonna do that, and go look at Bill's content, dude. Bill is so like people might be like, wow, Bill does his content one way or another. Bill does his content in a very specific way that rubs people the wrong way, but it attracts the exact person he wants to work with. So is he speaking to his dream client? Yes. Is he creating friction to keep away people who are not going to be a good fit? Yes. So what happens to his pipeline? it goes up and he gets quality dream clients. That's the whole point of all of this. So are people going to agree with the way you're doing things? No. Who cares? Are they putting money on your in your back pocket? Are they putting food on your table? No. So why are you going to listen to them? Oh, I saw one guy commenting on someone's post and they're like, I wouldn't make content like this. You don't make content at all. What are you what are you talking about? I saw somebody made a post and they're talking about the top people in their industry. And one of the guys in the industry commented and said, "Don't use my content for attention." I'm like, what a loser. The guy's talking about how you do something well and he's lifting you up, and then he came back down to berate him. Great. So in him being social, I know that guy's a complete loser weirdo I'd never work with a day in my life. And some people are gonna love that he's a complete loser, jerk, and they're gonna be attracted to that. That's perfectly fine. That's the beauty of being social. You can find who you want to be with and who you don't want to be with very, very quickly. So try out your posts, make them fun to read. And the best thing I can tell you, I have a video on this. It's like one of my most unviewed, like lower viewed videos, underrated videos. I talk about how to sound just like Alex Hormozy, Gary Vee, all the top content guys. Covers it. Go look at how their content's written. They're doing everything I just told you right here. How does Alec come up with that content? Alec is not a genius. Alec is very opposite. So Alec, being lazy and stupid, goes and says, "Hey, how are the really smart guys doing it? And how can I do it really easily?" That's it. That's all the game is. If it's working, how can I learn it? So with your content, if you're thinking this looks good to me, I would say go, and it's not working, go look at what the top guys are doing. Does your content structure, appearance, voice, style, rhythm, does it match the top guys? Not one guy, the top guys. If no, your content is not good. Start with imitation. Just start with imitation. Imitate my content, imitate people's content who are way better than me. But if your content process is just, what do I think I want to write today? I'm going to write it. It's not a process. You have to approach it scientifically. Try it, test it, see what you like. See what they like. Because if they like it, you'll like it. And if you're bringing in dream clients, you'll really like it. But that's it for today. Definitely went a little over, but I gotta jump for this call because I think he's ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump. Tomorrow we can cover the YouTube style of things, or the side of things. But with your content, be skeptical, be convicted, make sure it looks like something that you would actually read. Don't ramble on. Have story, have conflict. Make it entertaining. If you would not read it, no one else is gonna read it. But we'll go ahead and wrap up, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the YouTube content. Any questions, shoot me a DM.
Thanks,
Cool.
Alec.
Thank you. Thanks.
See you guys.
Bye.